Mr. Georgopoulos, you are the last speaker, but for a reason. I know that you have great experience with foreign markets. I think it's 60, 65 countries throughout the world that you have experience with. And we spoke about paragraph 11A, B, standalone batteries, systems with or without subsidy. What happens globally? What are the options there? And what is the direction someone should follow if they are involved in storage? Well, we create the storage, we create the software that is used in the implementation of such projects. So batteries are the new normal. There is no question about that. We are monitoring some 260 gigawatt projects throughout the world. And in batteries, you have some 20 gigawatts. Two-thirds of those projects are with batteries. They are either hybrid or standalone batteries. Usually, you have parks from 50 to 100 megawatts in the UK, or 4-hour and 6-hour in the US, of an order of about 1,000 megawatts. And the trend is rising. Now you have many different services. And when you have many services, this provides stability to the market. This country here has started tenders. We are about to create parks. But when you have a host of options, then this reduces the risk. You have the classical concept of arbitrage and ancillaries. In the UK, everything is frequency-based, and arbitrage comes second. And this can change again. So when you provide many different services, this provides investors with more security. And the system operators are studying or carrying out studies. Now, all these services we read about are existent. The automation in arbitrage, the containment regulation, voltage regulation, and what have you. All this is applied. You may have a certain service that works more in Australia or in the UK, other services, but nobody would say that this is a static environment. It is important to know that systems may change their operational profile, and this should be included in the business plan. This reduces the risk of options. So the message is that batteries are there. Either you have new parks constructed or redesigning of existing parks or expansion, like in the Netherlands of the capacity factor. We can only move faster ahead and design even new services. For example, in the curtailments, we see renewables being subject to a certain system and not being able to dynamically participate in reserves. And this leads to problems in the markets. So this is not something that is static.
Η αλήθεια, για να έχουμε optimization πρέπει να έχουμε.
So in order to have optimization, we need to have diversification, and that's the case for everything. I'm just going to ask one final question. I'd just like to say the following. Mr. Biskas mentioned, we talked about best aggregators, about PPAs, that PPAs in Greece, we've had, and there's a lot of, there are quite a few in Greece, not so much for batteries, but mainly for wind farms and PV. If we go a little bit further, and given that we're in the Greek market and the equity is not used at 100% of the financing, and we go to the banks. The banks require, in order for to receive funds, they just need a steady and continuous flows of money, whether that comes from the market through auctions or through PPAs. And therefore, okay, we've talked about auctions, we go to the PPAs, PPAs with batteries. Do we have them? Are we close to having them? Could we go to off-takers? Could we only go to best aggregators? If you could just have 1 minute, Mr. Biskas, and then we'll just move to Enel and Hellenic Energy to just hear from them and close the discussion. This is already happening in other countries. Greek aggregators have already seen that. What we see in England, in Germany, in Spain, eventually comes here. Therefore, at least from what I've heard from people that I'm talking to, they've already started with strategies that are offering PPAs for bin batteries, which means that the tender is not a one-way street, as long as there's the regulatory framework and the ministerial decisions that give the opportunity to investors to receive terms of connection from AVMIE. In this particular case, there are options, agreement options for a PPA with an aggregator, which at the moment might be a res aggregator and later on a BES aggregator at the same time, so that they can finance securely their investment.